Now when I'm playing the open E, the note that I'm getting off this string is open E. So that's why that's an E chord. But when I move it up one fret and stick the bar across there, I'm now holding this E string down at the first fret, giving me the note E, F. So that makes that an F major chord. Move it up one more fret and I'm still using an E shape, so I look on the E string. What note have I got on the E string? E, F, F sharp, so that's F sharp major. Move it up one more, F sharp, G major, G sharp, and so on. So if I grab a bar chord at random, there I am, I look at the shape, it's an E shape, so I look on my E string. I know that that is an E note there at the 12th fret, E flat, D, D flat. So that could be a D flat major, D flat, C, C sharp. I could also call it C sharp major. If that confuses you, then you just need to do those 2 lessons on the chromatic scale, because that's the missing link. But that's how bar chord naming works. E shape, find the note that you're playing on the E string. So far, because I'm using a E major shape, all those chords are going to be major. So that was E major, F major, F sharp major, G major, G sharp major, A major, and so on. But a similar thing works with minor chords. Now normally you'd play E minor with those fingers, but if you're going to use a bar chord, you switch to using your weak fingers. For most of us, I'd advise using the 3rd and 4th finger. Leave that finger out of it, the 2nd finger, and reserve your 1st finger for the bar. So that is an E minor shape. So I look on the E string for my root note. At the moment my E string has opened, so it's an E. So that's an E minor. The type of shape is minor, so that tells me it's a minor chord. The root note is on the E shape because that's an E minor shape. I should say the root note is on the E string. Moving that up a fret, it's still an E shape, an E minor shape. So I look on the E string for my root note, E, F. It must be an F. What type of chord? Minor, because it's an E minor shape. So that's F minor. F sharp minor. G minor. G sharp minor. A minor, and so on. You could probably guess how we work out the 7th chords. Although this is slightly different, because with a 7th chord you've got 2 common ways of fingering them. One is like that, for the E7 shape, but you can also add that finger there. Both of those are perfectly legitimate 7th chords. Sometimes you want to use that one, sometimes that one. Really it's just a matter of what works best. But if you're doing a bar chord, again, release your 1st finger, use your 2nd and 3rd finger to make that, reserve your little finger for that note if you can reach there and if you want to use that note. Perfectly okay just to use those 2. Some people find it quite hard to reach the extra note anyway. So there's E7th. Remember my root note, because it's an E shape, will be on my E string, so that's open at the moment, E7th. Move it up a fret, stick the bar across, E, F, 7th. Jump up to there, E, F, F sharp, G, 7th. A 7th. A sharp, 7th. B 7th. So on. So to summarise, the type of chord, whether major, minor or 7th, is determined by the shape. Are you using a 7th shape, a minor shape or a major shape? And the root note of the chord is determined by where you are on the E string because you're using E shapes. Now, there are times when we might want to play, say, a C sharp chord or an E flat chord. And using the E shapes, this makes them rather high up on the fretboard. There's C sharp, E flat. Now, chords, bar chords played this high on the fretboard are both physically more difficult because the frets are so close together, and also for a lot of applications they just don't really sound quite so nice as bar chords played lower down. So this is where it helps to have alternative shapes, and this is where the A shapes come in. So here's an A major shape bar chord, and you can see from this diagram that the root note, because it's an A shape, surprise surprise, is on the A string. That's why it's coloured orange or red. You'll also see that the note on the 6th string is indicated as being optional. That's because you don't have to have that note, and you can play A-shaped bar chords as 5-string chords rather than 6, but it is often quite handy to have that note included. So it's good practice to include it in your fingering. So this is this is the logic behind the A shape. Here's our ordinary A-shaped chord, and again we need to either play it with our 3 small fingers to make it a bar chord, so we can free up the first finger, or you can play it like that with 1 finger holding 2 strings down. Personally, I don't find that easy, but some people prefer that. Or you can use 1 finger barred across all 3 there. You have to be able to curl the finger so that it cleans or at least mutes the top string. That's how I often play A-shaped bar chords myself. I don't find that method too easy, but people with smaller fingers may do. So that's the A major shape, and again, because it's an A shape, you look on the A string for your root note. So that's an A because that note's an A. Move it up a fret, that note's become A sharp, so that's an A sharp or B flat major, B major, C major, and so on. Slightly more physical playing that shape. That's probably the hardest of the 6 shapes to play for almost everybody. Notice that when I play it, I'm really not barring all the way across, so I'm just playing that as a 4-note chord. If I want to play it as a 5-note chord, I've got to get that bar round to get the top string as well. If I want to play it as a 6-note chord, the bar goes right the way across. Sometimes you do that because you want this alternating bass. So that's when you really need that note. Okay, now likewise the A minor shaped bar chord. Again has its root note on the 5th string, and again you can use the 6th string note as an optional extra. So that looks like this. There's our ordinary A minor played with our weaker fingers, freeing up the first finger for your bar. So that's A minor, A sharp minor, B minor, C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, and so on. And finally the A 7th shape. Here you can see a couple of options. Once again, the 6th note is optional, the 6th string note. But also at the top end of the chord, if I show you here, you can add that note there to sort of make it a stronger sound. So again, because it's an A shape, root note on the A string, A sharp, B, so that would be a B7th, either like that, I'd probably actually play it with those small fingers, or like that, or actually you can put that across like that, but quite hard work. 3 possible options for the 7th chord there. So I hope that's helped you sort out the naming of your bar chords. If you're still at all confused about it, do go back to those lessons I quoted earlier, 8.2 and 8.3 on the chromatic scale. That will almost certainly be where any confusion lies. That's the tricky part of this. Okay, now as regards physically practicing bar chords, I'm going to strongly suggest that if you're new to bar chords, start with just the E shape, the E major shape. And here's a nice sequence that you can work with to practice. Starting at the 3rd fret here, and then as I'm playing this, I'm eyeing the 7th fret, and I'm going to play like this. I'm sure some of you will recognise those chords as coming from the opening lines of Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, an Otis Redding tune, which was the tune that originally inspired me to break through the bar chord barrier. Lovely, lovely tune, and that's a great way of playing it. So notice that those are all E shapes, all same chord shape all the way through. It's just good practice to help you move the chord. Fret 3, fret 7, fret 8, then 1 fret at a time, 8, 7, 6, 5, and then back to the beginning again at fret 3. That's a great way to get started. So that's how to break through the bar chord barrier. In my next lesson, I'm going to show you a few more of my favourite bar chord based songs, and also introduce you to some more exotic varieties of bar chords. So I'll look forward to seeing you then, and meanwhile I'd advise practicing bar chords little and often.